3rd and Ferry has been in Easton since 2013. Our menu is predominantly seafood. We have non-seafood options. We have an extensive raw bar. We usually offer 8 to 9 selections of oysters at any given time. And as for the food, we get seafood deliveries 6 days a week. We make everything in-house. We all take a lot of pride in what we do here. So here at the market, we sell a lot of oysters. There are thousands and thousands of species of oysters all around the world, and they all have different flavors and shapes and textures and all that, but the one thing they do share in common is the health benefits. They are packed with essential minerals and vitamins. They have 9 different amino acids in them, low in fat, are very high in protein. They have a ton of antioxidants. They really are a tiny little superfood. Most people don't shuck them at home because they don't know how. So they come out to the restaurants to eat them, which is fine with me, But today we're gonna teach you how to shuck an oyster if you wanted to shuck one at home. So first, you're gonna need an oyster knife. It's a little different than a clam knife. So a clam knife, most people have clam knives in their houses. Their blades are a little thinner and they're sharp on one side. An oyster knife, there are different types of oyster knives. They're usually, they have a stiffer blade, and they are not particularly sharp on either side, but they have a point on the front, because that's what you're going to use to get into that hinge. So all oysters are anatomically the same. There's an abductor muscle right here that holds the shells together. Back here you have a hinge, just like a clam. So that we're going to go in through the back, through the hinge. Some people go in through the front. I find this method a little easier. Now, here at the restaurant, we'll shuck an oyster in our hand like this. It's not particularly safe to do that, so I would recommend just getting yourself a kitchen towel, and you're just going to fold the kitchen towel over the oyster, so it'll keep the oyster nice and sturdy, and you'll be shucking down away from your hands. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your knife, you're going to stick it right there in that hinge there. You're going to apply pressure, not a lot of pressure, just firm pressure, and you're going to wiggle that knife in, right, until you slip in, or you'll be in the oyster at that point. So now, you've cracked the hinge. The abductor muscle is still connected though, so you need to separate that. So you're gonna pry that oyster up a little bit. I like to hold it with my hand right there, just press in on it. And then I come in like that. My knife is angled up towards the top of the shell, and we're gonna just scrape that shell off. So what you wanna see is you want that oyster to look like nothing happened to it, right? Look for any little bits of shell. You'll find them in the front there. Go in, lift up the meat, see if there's anything underneath. And we're clean. Now, that abductor muscle right there, we're gonna remove it from the bottom to make it easier to eat. So you go in, scrape the bottom of that oyster, and that oyster is ready to eat. So once you have an oyster shucked, what you do with it after that is entirely up to you. You can cook them if you want. That fried oysters are delicious. I prefer them raw. So if you wanted to eat them raw, you have a bunch of different options. You can use lemon, you can use classic cocktail sauce. I prefer a mignonette, very simple. So you just slide the oyster into your mouth. One common misconception is that you just slide the oyster into your mouth and swallow it. You will get more flavor notes out of the oyster if you chew it up. So, that's a good oyster.